Intermittent fasting. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's that eating pattern where you cycle between periods of eating and fasting. And it's great for your overall health, but where do you begin? Or as a person who's just getting into intermittent fasting, how do you start intermittent fasting? Well, this is Lou from YA Strength, and in this video, I'll give you 4 steps to begin intermittent fasting. So keep on watching to stay tuned and find out what they are. Don't forget to show love, subscribe, and help me grow. Let's get started. Step number 1, choose a fasting approach. Choosing your fasting approach is very important. And as you might already know, there are multiple variations or options when it comes to intermittent fasting and the ways that you can do it. But lucky for you, I've already done a video on this. So I'll post a link in the description box below and you can watch to view the most common forms of intermittent fasting. But in any case, you'll want to select your fasting plan so that you'll be able to organize and plan accordingly based on the approach that you select. Examples include the 16-8 method, which is the most popular, but there's also alternate day fasting, the 5-2 plan, OMAD, and more. There are many variations out there to choose from. And in short, they're all forms of intermittent fasting. So you have to really dig down and figure out which ones you want to go with and select that one approach to initially begin or start with. Oh, and by the way, you do not need to jump into a 16-hour fast right away. Many people do that and then they end up feeling like crap because they jump right into it. And that's likely going to happen if you do not give your body time to adjust. So for beginners, keep in mind that you can start off with just 12 hours to begin and get your body adjusted to it. And you can eventually work your way up to 14 hours, 16 hours, even 18 and 20 hours, depending on how far into your fast you want to go. Step number 2, understand your overall goal. When starting with your intermittent fasting journey, or even if you've been fasting for some time now, it's always a good idea to take a step back and reassess why you began fasting in the first place. In other words, take a step back and reassess what your goals are. So did you, before you began intermittent fasting or before you began intermittent fasting, define a goal in your head? And if you didn't, you should ask yourself what your goals are. And I say that because many people assume that the only benefit or goal of intermittent fasting is losing weight. And because of that, some people incorrectly decide to do it in an unhealthy manner that can make your intermittent fasting journey or experience, for lack of better words, less than ideal, or not as enjoyable or sustainable for a long enough period of time to where you can see or reap the benefits of intermittent fasting. As a better approach, try defining your goal from a more holistic approach. And I say that because while weight loss might be a goal or one of your goals, at some point you're going to reach your target weight and more than likely you're going to lose focus and you may ruin all that progress. So as opposed to just focusing on weight loss, try also focusing on your overall health and well-being. By example, maybe you want to have more energy throughout the day, or maybe you want to become less dependent on sugary foods throughout the day. My point is that intermittent fasting can help improve other health markers. So yes, it can help with weight loss, but it can also help with other things. So if you try to add additional goals outside of weight loss, it might help you stick to it longer, especially if you want to make intermittent fasting a part of your lifestyle. So do not forget this step. It's important to understand and define your overall goals from intermittent fasting. Step number 3, get yourself ready. Okay, so now that you've decided on a plan and you have a defined goal or defined goals, you want to get yourself ready or mentally prepare yourself for what's ahead. Okay, now listen, when you first begin intermittent fasting, and please note, these experiences will eventually fade away, but when you first begin intermittent fasting, you will definitely experience and get a lot of hunger pangs. You will probably be obsessing over food. You might feel irritable and etc. It goes on and on and on in terms of what you might be experiencing. Everyone's different. But bottom line, you have to be prepared and understand that you will want to eat because your body is accustomed to eating throughout the day as it normally does. So when you abruptly one week decide to stop eating all day, right? Or stop eating for whatever amount of hours you want to stop eating, you're going to experience some difficulties with trying to adapt or adjust to doing that. That said, it's important to mentally expect these things to occur. You have to be prepared to tough it out and make it through your fasting window. So if it's 12 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours, whatever it is, you got to prepare yourself and tough it out and make it through that fasting window, because it will be difficult, especially if you just began intermittent fasting. The truth is, you may fall short a couple of times in the beginning and not make it through your entire fasting window. And that's okay. Over time, just stay consistent. And after a while, these intermittent fasting aches will eventually subside as you become accustomed to fasting, and you can move up to longer fasting periods or hours. Trust me, you'll get there. Just stick to it, tough it out. Step number 4 is to keep it simple. When you first start out with intermittent fasting, especially as a newbie, or if you're just getting back into intermittent fasting after you've taken a break for about 6 months or a year, you'll want to keep it simple. Do not make the mistake of throwing yourself in too deep because you hear people fasting for 16 hours, 20 hours, all while keeping up their workout routine and running 10 miles a day and doing keto or some other diet where you're only allowed to eat certain types of foods. For yourself, when you just begin intermittent fasting, or if you're just getting back on board to intermittent fasting, keep it simple. Only focus on intermittent fasting. Now, please note, this does not apply to the person who's already super duper active. So if you already go to the gym, or if you already run 10 miles a day, or if you already play sports, or if you're already on a specialized diet, then you could add on intermittent fasting. I'm talking specifically if you're just doing intermittent fasting and you're thinking about trying something else on top of it. Like meaning, I want to do intermittent fasting and I also want to try a HIIT for the first time this week. You know, not the best idea. It just isn't. Because you'll be doing too many things at once and one of them will fail. Either you fail at HIIT or you fail at intermittent fasting because you're trying 2 new things at once, and they both will require some time to adjust and become accustomed to. So it's best to keep it simple and go with whatever fasting approach you decide to go with. And remember, there is no need to change your diet initially. So if you want to start intermittent fasting, eat as you normally do, but just start intermittent fasting. And once you get used to intermittent fasting, then you can start changing your diet, taking away carbs if you want, or, you know, eating more healthier as you need be, but just do one thing at a time. Trust me, it's going to work out for the better. And also keep in mind that you can start off slowly when you begin intermittent fasting. Don't think that you have to fast every single day of the week, right? You might want to fast just to begin, maybe 4 out of 7 days of the week. And then you can slowly increase it to 5 out of 7 days in a week, or 6 out of 7 days of the week. You know, I know some people now who are avid fasters, and even myself, you know, I don't fast every single day. I fast almost every single day, maybe 5 to 6 times a week. But on Sunday, if it's a family day, I'm stepping out to visit my family members and they're having a barbecue or a cookout, and, you know, there's a nice meal there, I'm going to eat outside of my fasting window. So I'm going to call that my fasting cheat day, so to speak, you know, and that might happen a couple of times per week, or if it's a busy holiday or festive week, it might happen 3 times that week, you know, so that's okay. As long as overall you stick to your fasting window for majority of the week once you become accustomed. Just please don't feel like as a newbie to intermittent fasting that you have to fast every single day or else you failed. That isn't the case, okay? Fasting is a lifestyle. It's not something that you have to do every single day. Some days you might fast, other days you might not fast, but most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you're fasting if someone were to catch you on any given day of the week, if that makes sense. Long story short, you're fasting more often than you're not. So whatever you decide to do, just keep it simple, and intermittent fasting will become a part of your lifestyle in no time. And that's it. 4 simple and easy steps to start your intermittent fasting journey. And the best thing about intermittent fasting is that there is no one-size-fits-all approach. Everyone's different and they prefer different styles. Some people like OMAD, some people do 16-8. I know some people that only fast for 12 hours a day and don't go any higher. Some people may try alternate day fasting. Listen, you can experiment and try whatever you want to do when it comes to intermittent fasting from a healthy lens, of course. Don't try anything crazy, and you should be okay. And find the approach that you think is going to be the most enjoyable for yourself, and find an approach that you think will also be the most sustainable long term, because consistency is how you see results from a health and weight perspective. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. Be sure to comment below and let me know your thoughts or give me some feedback. As always, thank you for watching. This is Luke from YA Strength. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next video.